Hello everyone. So most of what you see on social media is normally some kind of success story or a sort of road to riches type thing. So I thought I'd try something a little different in this video, and I'd share with you all a real life investing mistake that I made so that hopefully you can avoid doing the same thing. And also just to show you that investing isn't always plain sailing, which it's sometimes made out to be. Investing is real life. Sometimes you get things right, sometimes you get them wrong. But as investors, we really can't be too precious about it. It's just a fact of life. And especially early on in your investing journey, it's inevitable, but to be honest, this applies however long you've been investing. So your mistakes are actually great lessons, but only if you choose to see them in that way. Now, humans are generally wired so that we feel the pain of loss around about 2 times more than the pleasure of making a gain. Now, our natural instinct when this happens is to retreat, is to go into our shell, and probably to proceed to blame somebody else. But therein lies the mistake that most people make. So we endure all the pain of loss and essentially learn nothing. So when something does inevitably go wrong, it's important to take a step back, to look through your notes, and I recommend always keeping notes, and be as objective as possible. What could you have done better? What was it that you missed? What didn't you see last time that you might be able to see next time? Now, the mistake in particular that I'm thinking of here was a company that looked great to the outside observer. It was in a sector that should have had structural growth. It had a good brand and it had some lucrative contracts. So you might be forgiven for thinking, well, what could possibly go wrong? Well, this was a business that is what we call quite capital intensive. It takes a lot of money to keep its operations going. It also has quite low profit margins. Now, that in itself isn't an issue. As long as the business can keep reliable revenue coming in, that could be fine. But this business had a fair amount of assets, but it didn't have a lot of cash. And herein lies the rub, really. So a lack of cash flow, a high need for cash, and low profit margins. All of that came together to lead to a very painful lesson that I'm really not likely to forget anytime soon. So when I look at investments now, in my mind, there's got to be some scope for things to go a bit wrong and for a company to still be able to fund itself. Now, I could blame anyone for choosing that investment. I could blame analysts or company executives, absolutely anybody. But the real truth of the matter is that the only way to not repeat that mistake is not to look for blame, but to understand why it went wrong and how to learn from it. So in that case, I now try and stay away from capital intensive businesses with low margins. And I always remember that corporate management teams are there to sell something. So if it isn't their products and services, it's essentially their shares. So I hope that this rather painful lesson for me, and perhaps the thought process behind it, can be a useful lesson for you. So as always, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments, and please do like and share if you found this helpful. Thank you.